Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we look at 9 whiskeys that are just perfect for the spring. Run the video. Alright then folks, thank you for joining us for another new and exciting episode here on the Whiskey Cove, where we will be looking at 9 fantastic whiskeys for the spring. So I don't often do these seasonal videos. I did a couple when we first brought out the Whiskey Cove, and I'd like to revisit it. And spring is my favorite time of the year. You're breaking out of a very cold winter, stuff's starting to bloom, warm up a little bit, and you want something to kind of match those. There's pollen in the air, there's fruit flavors, you're on the brink of summer, so I want something to match that. And that's why I picked 9 great whiskeys that speak to me when I think of spring. If you're not a subscriber around here, it is definitely a great time to be, as we do a 10,000 subscriber giveaway, and we just hit 8,500 subscribers, which is a big deal because we reveal a bottle today. That is going to be the 3rd bottle on this list. We have 2 so far. We have an old Rip Van Winkle, and we have a Wild Turkey non-chill filtered international exclusive. We will reveal 1 more at the end, and we'll have 3 more to go. If you want to win one of these bottles, you have to be a subscriber, and then after the video, go down in the link down below and then hit the link over to the Whiskey Cove's website and then submit your ticket. You do have to be 21 years old too. Let's get these out of the way. So bottle number 1 on this list. This is going to be a bottle of Old Forester. So Old Forester is traditionally like a little toasted, a lot of new charred American oak, pretty sweet, a really good fall drink. So what am I talking about here? Well, I'm talking about Old Forester 1897 bottled in bond. This is quite different to other Old Foresters in terms of this is very caramel apple heavy, right up on the front, a lot of citrus, and with it being 100 proof, there's actually a little bit of spice there that I don't really associate with any other Old Forester. I think this is a really complete whiskey. I think that the proof isn't too much. You know, you're not looking for maybe too much proof in the spring. I know there's some proof hounds watching this video thinking, I look for proof any day of the week, which is cool. You drink whiskey how you like, but for me personally, in the springtime, I like to keep it around 100 proof and a little bit less. So Old Forester 1897 is the epitome of spring with those citrus notes and those beautiful caramel apple notes too. And that's why this is number 1 on this list. That is Old Forester 1897. Next up, I chose a rye. So rye is normally associated with autumn, Christmas, fall, winter, around that time. But I wanted to choose something that spoke to me a little bit more during this time of the year. And that's why I chose new Riff malted rye. This is 6 years old. They just released a new batch for this year in the last month or 2. It's gone up a little bit in price. It's around $65 now. It was about $50, but this is 100% malted rye, and this is a sour mash. So for whatever reason, anytime I do this bottle blind, I always think it's a bourbon. I just can never pin this bottle down, and that's why I chose it to be on this list. It's a little brighter than most ryes. It drinks more like a bourbon, even though it's 100% malted rye. It has a lot of those quintessential vanilla, oak, and a little bit of spice that you associate with a classic bourbon, and it just drinks like a bourbon. Perfect rye for the spring. And it's 50% ABV or 100 proof, and like I said, maybe it has something to do with that sour mash. A great bottle for really any time of the year, but I really like this bottle in spring, and this is definitely not going to see it till the summer. 3rd on this list, and this is actually a new bottle that we have had down here in the Whiskey Cove, and one that we did a review on recently, and I really liked it. I thought, what an absolute great bottle of whiskey for this list, and truth be told, it's the reason why I'm doing this list. And that is because the 3rd bottle on this list is the Penelope wheated bourbon. This is non-chill filtered. This is coming in at a whopping 47.5% ABV or 95 proof. This is right around, or what I paid for it was like $30. Most of the places around the US, you're gonna pay about 35 to 40. However, there's some out there you can get it for 30 if your state and stores are priced well. So why I chose this to be on this list is because this has so much citrus notes up front for me personally. Yes, you get some of that wheated notes in the back end, like some bready notes there. That's why the biggest tasting note I can say about this is literally a lemon poppy seed muffin with some sugar glaze on top. It's like biting a muffin, having that bready note, that savory bready note, and then that lemon coming over the top with that sweetness there. It is the perfect bottle for the spring, and it's an excellent price. It's a solid whiskey. I think I give it 81 out of 100. If you haven't seen that video, go back and check some of the reviews. It's a great video. This is a great bottle, and I'm gonna keep getting it down here in the Whiskey Cove. I really want to get it into an old-fashioned because I think it would do really well. I think I want to try to find like some lemon bitters, maybe. You generally don't combine two of the same flavors, but I think a lemon bitters might pull out some of the more lemony notes in there, and it could combine quite well, and then maybe like a lemon peel too, instead of the orange citrus vibe that you usually get with an old fashioned. So next up on this list, and I went with another rye, and that is Michter's Single Barrel Straight Rye. Why I chose this rye? This is just such an easy rye to drink. Very, very vanilla forward, and you're not going to get lost in some of the heavy rye notes that you traditionally think with a rye. And also, not much spice on this whatsoever, not much ethanol or proof, because it is a little bit of a low proofer. ABV on this is going to be 42.4% ABV or 84.8 proof. It does, I would say personally, drink more like a 45% ABV or 90 proof. So it's not going to be completely flat in terms of the finish. It has a really nice, sweet vanilla finish. It's just very enjoyable. And even with the low proof, I kind of like to drink this on ice. In my opinion, if I'm looking for a rye as I'm cutting the grass, this is going to be my rye. I'll stick it into a glass, stick like 3 ice cubes in there, and this will be what I drink if I cut the grass and I want something to drink. A great rye. This bottle will not be staying unopened for too much longer. Price on that is around $50, so again, good value what we're looking at then. Speaking about really good value, and humor me a little bit here, and that is because the next bottle on this list is Mellow Corn. So Mellow Corn looks like a cheap bottle of whiskey, and that's because it is. I do believe that this isn't finished in a new charred American oak barrel, but again, I might not be right there. This is 50% ABV or 100 proof, bottled in bond, so we know it's at least 4 years old, and it's very sweet in the way that it's pleasantly sweet. Lots of vanillas, and you do actually surprisingly get a lot of oak. Not too much else going on there, to be fair, in terms of spiciness, but if you really like your whiskey to be amped up with vanilla, amped up with like a really nice corn popcorn sweetness, and then amped up with wood, this is probably it. And it's only going to set you back like $15, $20, and 50% ABV or 100 proof. And much like the Michters, this will take an ice cube or two, and it'll be refreshing. So don't hate on some of those bottom sippers. Mellow Corn's actually a pretty solid whiskey. Moving on, and we have Wild Turkey 70th. So I know this got released more towards the fall of last year, and it might be a hard bottle to find. There was a time when you could not find it. I paid these, I think about $49. I picked up like 4 or 5 at Sam's Club, so I was happy to get it for that price. It is aged at 8 years and is to celebrate Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary. 50.5% ABV or 101 proof. If you can't get this, and you are flying international and doing all that jazz and looking at liquor in different countries, then definitely look for the Wild Turkey 101 aged 8 years. So this is the 70th anniversary, and this is the aged 8 years international exclusive, and it is a 1 litre bottle. I think this is basically the same stuff. The only differences that I can tell personally is probably just the differences in small batch. That's my opinion. You can pick this up for $50, and if actually you are in Kentucky, go to a liquor store in Louisville called Neat, and they sell this, and you can pick it up there. I don't know how they're able to source this whiskey, but they have managed to get a license so they can sell international whiskey or antique whiskey at the store, and they have that with a bunch of other good stuff too. They have the Wild Turkey 12 year at that store. 3 bottles left, and the next bottle is 1792 small batch. So the finish on this isn't as long as some of the other small batches. The bonded, the 12 years are pretty more complete. However, what I like about this bottle of whiskey is it has a lot more berry forward notes. It has plenty of vanilla and plenty of like strawberries, raspberries, blackberries even. It is just a really nice blend and bouquet of flavors when it comes to kind of like those spring berries. And like I said, not too much of a finish. So don't go into this bottle thinking that it's going to be a complete whiskey. It does fall off a little bit. But if I'm looking for a whiskey that is fruity and has some really nice vanillas and a touch of oak, and I don't really want to think about the whiskey too much, then I'm going to drink this. It's around $30, and I think for the price is an excellent bottle of whiskey. As I said though, not a complete whiskey because the finish does fall off a little bit. Next up, and the last rye on this list, and that is going to be Sagamore Spirits Rum Cask Finish. So there's a lot of different variations for these ryes, Oloroso. I think there's port out there to have the double oaked, which is an absolute favorite here on the Whiskey Cove. But we went for the rum. I think the rum finish just gives it a little bit more of a candy cane. I shouldn't say candy cane, more sugar cane. Candy cane is the Christmas cane. So it's more of like a sugar cane sweetness to it. But then there's enough rye in there to help balance and cut through some of the sweetness that you get from the rum. It's a really nice balanced rum finish whiskey. The rye is sourced from Indiana and then is bottled and finished by Sagamore Spirits. This bottle I probably picked up about 18 months, 2 years ago. So I don't know if they necessarily do the rum finishes, and it might probably taste a little bit different because mostly all of Sagamore stuff that they were aging there in Maryland is starting to come online, but I have seen these from time to time. I think you can still pick them up at different liquor stores. What is it going to cost? Around about $50 to $60 is what I paid. I think I actually got that from Costco, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I paid right around $50, and I think it's a great bottle of whiskey and $50 excellently spent. That is the Sagamore Spirits rum fin. Last on this list, and we have Michter small batch Kentucky bourbon whiskey. So much like the other Michters, the Michter single barrel rye, we like this because it is a very tasty whiskey, but it's also pretty low proof as well. It's a shade higher than the rye. This is coming in at 45.7%, excuse me, or 91.4 proof. This is a great bottle of whiskey. It's not as good as the Michter's 10, obviously. The price difference is huge, but it's absolute killer for the price tag of around $45. Much like the 1792 small batch, it also has some apple and berry notes there too, plenty of vanilla, and this has a really great mouthfeel. You'll be chewing on this a little bit as you're cutting that grass, as you're watering your plants. You'll have a little taste of it. Yeah, the finish isn't too long, but you'll be chewing on it for a little longer. And again, great value for money. You can't really knock it. And even any of these bottles that I put on this list have all been great bottles of whiskey. And these are going to be the whiskey that I'm going to be reaching for this spring. So I would love to see your recommendations down in the comment section, folks, of whiskeys that you kind of associate with spring. I could have also included some Irish whiskey on this list, and then I could also include some Welsh whiskey, because that palette is very like orange blossom, honeysuckle, apples, pears, and it's very reminiscent of spring. But I know a lot of you folks who watch my videos like the American whiskey for the most part. With that being said, don't forget to sign up for your free giveaway now that the video's finished. Hit that bell icon too, so you never miss a video and you know exactly when we release a new bottle for this lottery. And of course, we are releasing a new bottle now. So first off, we introduced the old Rip 10, then we introduced the Wild Turkey Red Breed non-chill filter. And I am very happy to announce the next bottle will be the John J. Bowman single barrel. Not the most expensive bottle in the world, probably cost me around $50 to $60, but an excellent bottle of whiskey, and one bottle that is not very obtainable for a lot of you folks at home. Something that every time I mention this bottle, there's usually one or two people in the comment sections will say, I don't see this anywhere. I can get Blanton's, I get Caribou Crossing, I can get Stag, but I can't find John J. Bowman. Well, now you have an opportunity to be able to get it. So 3 bottles already put out, 3 left. And they're going to be 3 awesome bottles, I can tell you that. So you don't need to be on the live stream, you just need to submit your ticket, and then we'll contact the winners and check on the subscription status, and we will go from there. So thank you so much for watching, folks, as we drink through the world's whiskey, one glass at a time. Cheers.